Okay, so the first thing I would like to show you, you've probably all had emails if you're already Thermomix owners, you probably had an email about your Cookie Do account. Now we've had an upgrade to Cookie Do, which has become Cookie Do 3.0, which basically enables us to not only access all of the recipes worldwide, but also to create your own recipes. And so I just wanted to show you how simple this is to do, because I know it's one of those things that people think, oh, I don't really want to try that. It's a bit tricky. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and show you a recipe that I've converted. In fact, I'll do it from scratch to show you from Recipe Community. Now, Recipe Community, for those of you that don't know, is the platform where anyone can put up a recipe that they've used for their Thermomix. So this is Recipe Community. And the recipe that I'm going to convert and show you is this one here, which is, I don't know if anyone of you have made this before. It's Lala's Creamy Lemon Butter Chicken. It's one of our favorites. And again, it's one that you can just make and shove in the oven. And whilst it's in the oven doing its thing, you can be doing kids' homeworks or getting ready for bed or whatever you need to be doing. So this particular recipe has different variations. I'm going to copy this one. So what you do is when you go into your Cookie Do account, I'm just making sure you can all see this. So this is my Cookie Do account. I am going to create a recipe. So I'm going to go into my recipes and I'm going to go into my created. And this will show me all the recipes that I've already created. Down at the bottom, I'm going to go into, let me just make sure. It's going to create, here we are, created recipes. So here there's a plus button. I'm going to go into that. I'm going to import a recipe. Now you have two options. You can create a recipe from scratch where you just simply, if you've got like a favorite recipe that you use at home, you can just add your things one at a time. But I'm just going to make it easy for myself and import the recipe that I know I want to make. So import recipe. I'm going to put the URL in from this Lala's one. So it's just on the top bar there. Copy that. Go back into my Cookie Do, and I'm going to be pasting that in and then import. So this, it even imports a picture, so you can change the picture if you want to. I'm just going to change the name of this because I have already put this in and converted it. I'm just going to put in demo so that I know that this is my demo version. Okay, now it's put in the steps for me. It's put the ingredients. Look at that. How awesome is that? The only thing I want to do is to add some of the instructions for the Thermomix. So I'm going to go into edit. Grate Parmesan, 10 seconds speed, 10. So first of all, I want to weigh the Parmesan in. So I want my scales to pop up. So I'm going to highlight Parmesan, pop up ingredients, and I'm going to grab the Parmesan from that list, remove the text that I don't need. So grate Parmesan, and now I've got an instruction, which is 10 seconds speed 10, highlight that. Go into the instruction for the Thermomix. It's 10 seconds, and I'm just going to select speed 10 and tick on that, and we'll just get rid of the text. And this is basically how you would go through to add any actual instructions. So we're going to chop the garlic. The garlic doesn't need to be weighed, so I don't need a scale here, but I'm going to add an instruction. It's 3 seconds speed 3, so 3 seconds speed 7, 3 seconds speed 7, tick on that, get rid of the text that we don't need. So the text that's got instructions for the Thermomix or the scales comes up underlined in green. So you get the idea of how easy this is to convert. So I'm just going to confirm that. I'm not going to carry on with that anymore. What I'm going to show you is that actual recipe on my Thermomix as we go through. So I'm going to try and get my screen so that you can see it. Is that okay, Tina? You can see that?
Perfect.
Okay. So in here, I've added it to my week. So I'm going to go to my week. There it is there, the simple version of Lala's creamy lemon butter chicken. Select. And it tells me it's been imported by me. If I want to scroll and see all of the ingredients and the steps, I can, but I'm going to start cooking. Enjoy cooking your created recipe. Preheat the oven, already done. Grate the Parmesan. So I'm going to pull the scales up and the button is slightly, you'll notice it's slightly different if you've already got a TN6. So it needs 80 grams of Parmesan. I always put a little bit extra in because you can never have too much Parmesan in these dishes. And then I'm going to do the next step, which is 10 seconds, speed 10. So in order to do that, you can either press on that and it pulls it all up. I just need a lid. And then just turn it around to speed 10. And then just cross that off so we can go to the next step. Set the Parmesan aside.
And the recipe has come up on the chat. So if you are eager to try it out, just click the button on the chat for the recipe.
Okay, so chopping garlic, 3 seconds, speed 7. I'm going to leave the garlic out of this because I've got a child who doesn't like it, but you just simply do the same thing, pop the garlic in and then press onto that. Okay, so this step now, add the grated Parmesan cheese. That's going in there now. 2 tablespoons of chicken stock. Now I've actually got mine dehydrated, so it's the same recipe as in the basic cookbook, but I've dehydrated mine in a dehydrator and then put it back into the Thermomix and put it on speed 10 to make it into a really nice powder. So I don't need to keep mine in the fridge. So I'll pop that in. I'm just going to make it slightly less than 2. And then I'm going to put my scales up because it's asking for some measuring here. So asking for 400 grams of water. I'll pop that in here. That's about right, just a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to add more cream than water, so I'll leave that as it is. And then tear the scales. And we've got 100 grams of butter.
Anthea, have you tried this with another type of meat?
I haven't actually. Have you?
No.
I imagine, so with the, I'm using chicken breast. The recipe actually says chicken thigh or chicken drumsticks, whole pieces. I cut mine up because that's how my kids like to eat it. So again, I'll just show you what it looks like. It looks like that. So I just chop mine up. The actual recipe has, you can have your chicken with the skin on. And the original recipe actually flash fries it first, but that just adds to more washing up, in my opinion, which nobody's got time for. I'm just going to get the cream out of the fridge.
And I've done once where I had the skin on, and when after basting and marinating it, and I left the skin right on, it got crisped up in the oven itself. So that was quite special.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to add the cream. It says 200 grams. I'm going to add a little bit more because I added a little bit less of the water. And then 100 grams of baby spinach. So I'm just going to pop that straight in. Sorry, I didn't tell. And pop that in. Okay, so just making sure I've got all the ingredients in. I've got the juice of a large lemon, that's going in now. And dry thyme, I've actually got thyme from my garden, so I'm just going to pop that in. And that's everything. So the next step on there is a cooking step. So I'll put my lid on, ready to go. And again, you can either press this button here, the scale symbol, or you can press on the cooking step and it will bring it up for you. Just turn the speed to speed 2, and we're cooking for 15 minutes. So I just wanted you to see how easy it is to convert a recipe. I know we've been talking about how it's amazing you can do this now, but it really is a simple process. This is available on TM6s only. Now, TM31, TM5 customers can, if you're using cookie dough, you can convert recipes, but what you won't do is be able to actually see it on the screen of your Thermomix. So what you would be doing is using that for your planning purposes and creating a shopping list, but not for actually putting it on the Thermomix. Okay, we'll come back to me when that is ready to go next. In the meantime, let's come over to Mia, who is going to be making some korma for us. I'll just spotlight you, Mia.
Thank you, Anthea. Afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to talk you through a couple of recipes today. I get to do a main and a dessert. And the first recipe I'm going to do is taken from a book on cookie dough called Dinner for Two. And interestingly, I'd searched this recipe, but it's actually for 4 people. So not quite sure why it's in that book. Maybe it's for freezing and having later. But we're a family of 4, so it works really well for us. It's 15 minutes of prep, it's 30 minutes of cooking, done on the table. So that's always a firm favourite. So it's a chicken korma with cashews. And I'll start working through the recipe with you. I've also spotlighted my phone here so you'll be able to see the screen a bit closer. And you'll see here in my menu planning, I've got the recipes I'm going to do today. So let me just go back through there, and I'm going to do this one here. Okay, so I'm going to start cooking, and it's asking for 30 grams of ghee. Let me just zero my scales. And I will come back and tell you about this in a moment. This is homemade ghee, and I'll talk to you a little bit when my onions are cooking to tell you about that. So that's all going in. My family love Indian cooking, even the kids. So it's really good for us to have a variety of recipes that we can work our way through. A couple of bay leaves, just dried bay leaves, they're going in. 2 whole cloves, tiny, tiny cloves going in. But all add to the flavour, and 125 grams of brown onions, and these are cut into wedges of about 4 centimetres, so about like so. I'll pop those in, and the reason we leave them in wedges is so that they can actually cook at a high heat. So I'm just going to go there. 3 cloves of garlic. Again, a bit like the parmesan with Anthea, you can never have enough garlic, but they were very small cloves, so I've just added a bit extra in there. And then 50 grams of roasted cashews, again, which I've got here weighed out. And the lovely part with the cashew nuts, or if you're using almonds, you can substitute, is it creates a really thick richness to your sauce without any nastiness going in there. Now it's asking me to add in some fresh chili. Now I'm going to leave this out because my youngest isn't a chili fan. The rest of us like it. But we can add that in at the end, so that's easy. We can just skip that step. And half a teaspoon of salt, which I've measured out. Boom, boom. And then quarter of a teaspoon of ground turmeric to give that lovely yellow, rich colour to the curry. And then I'm going to pop my lid on, and it's asking me to put the splash guard on. And the reason for this, it allows all those lovely aromas and so forth and steam to escape, releasing that pressure, but it also stops you getting the splash of the hot fat whilst you're cooking. So I've put my guard on, and I'm going to cook these at a high heat for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to set that to go, and I can carry on talking. It's not too loud. Can you hear me okay over it? Yeah, cool. So that's going to start cooking away. Unfortunately, you're not going to get that lovely smell of the roasted garlic and the roasted onions as they start to cook. Obviously, this is one of the new functions on the TM6. So you have that high heat, so you can get that browning, you can get that real caramelization of your onions, which really does add to the flavour. But I talked to you a little bit about the ghee, and I'm just going to mention this. This is something I make quite regularly. It's about $10 to buy. All you need is 500 grams of butter, unsalted butter, and you need a nut bag, which you can buy on the mix shop, and you just use that to drain all the whey and the curd part off the butter when you cook it. It takes about 2 hours to make. The smell is absolutely divine. It's like caramel. So it's worth doing it just for that. And the recipe can be found in the Flavors of India book on cookie dough, which I have there. So there you go. That's just an added one. The other thing the recipe is going to ask me for is some korma spice. And again, this can be found in the Dinner for Two book. So it's a spice specifically to make this dish. And it's a combination of 4 spices. It's cardamom pods, it's coriander seeds, it's cumin seeds, and cinnamon sticks. It's just those 4 spices in different quantities. It obviously makes quite a large portion, which I will keep in an airtight container. I've made it fresh this afternoon. And it needs about 20 grams for this. And all you do is that you roast those spices in your Thermomix for 5 minutes, let those cool, and then you grind them on a high speed until you've just left with a wonderful powder. And in fact, I'll show you. There's the powder there. Not that you can see a lot, but it's a lovely prepared spice. You've got that in your cupboard. You can use it even just as a marinade, put it with some yogurt or something if you're doing a barbecue. So just really good to have those spices. The other spice I'm going to use right at the end, it asks me to stir some garam masala through my curry at the end. And again, it's a combination of different spices that you can roast and prepare in your Thermomix. Again, it makes a huge quantity. But the smell and the depth of flavour of making this as opposed to buying it, it's just worth doing it. I've often made a portion, then I've gifted some. So if you know somebody who's a bit of a foodie, it's a nice little side gift to do with this. What I would also do when I'm making this recipe, and I'm not going to do it today because it's a bit early for us to eat, is that I'd make some cauliflower rice whilst my dinner was cooking. And what I do with my cauliflower rice, I would get half a cauliflower, whatever we need, just cut it into florets, pop it in your jug, and then just put it on turbo for a second, and it will make the rice. Just check it. You may need an extra half a second if you've got some particularly chunky stalks on those florets, but it's the perfect texture for rice. I then pop that in my varoma, and then when I get to the part of this recipe where it cooks for 12 minutes, I'll just sit it on top, and that can steam away whilst my curry's cooking. The cauliflower rice is doing as well. And hey presto, at the end of that 30 minutes, you've got a full meal waiting. So lots of little additions there. And whilst it sounds like a lot of work, things like the ghee, the spices, you obviously do those once in a blue moon. You keep it in the fridge in your spice cupboard, and they're ready to rock whenever you need them. There's lots of different spice combinations you can make and store. So it's worth just having a look on Cookie Dough at all those different recipes. And they also save you quite a bit of money in the long run. I'm not sure if all of you are local. I'm obviously on the Northern Beaches, but there's a shop in DY called the Indian Emporium, I think. It's just opposite the library, and they sell a lot of these spices in kind of bulk packs. It works out a lot more economic than buying the little Hoyts packs from the supermarket. So if it is something you're interested in doing and investing in, get yourselves down there, buy the bulk packaging, and it's well worth it. So, well, look, that's managed to chat through that 5 minutes quite nicely. I'm just counting down that last little part and get my ingredients ready for the last bit. Okay, and next it's asking me to scrape down the sides. I'm going to see if I can show you this. Oh God, it smells amazing, and it's because of the ghee. Can you see that? You can actually see it smoking, or steaming, I should say. So those onions are really browned beautifully. Smells gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to add 25 grams of tomato paste. Again, you can make your own. I haven't got any left, so I'm afraid I'm on the shop board. I'm just going to weigh that in. A little bit over, there or thereabouts. And then 20 grams of the korma spice that we've already talked about. So that's going in. And then I'm going to pop my lid and my measuring cup. Oh, I just went too many steps there. And I'm actually now going to cook this for a further 2 minutes on speed 2. And that's cooking at 120 degrees. So that's just cooking the tomato paste in there and also those spices, so they're not going in raw. So yes, some great things there. We've got another couple of minutes to wait. Anybody got any questions?
No, I can just show the next step on mine if you like. Just
Do
go
go for it.
Do you want to just spotlight me, Tina, if that's all right? I can do it. I've got it. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got the chicken that I've cubed. I've got on here some paprika, some salt and pepper. And I actually always make 2 of these because I'm a household of 6, but it's always nice to have spares. This sauce goes a long way, so I always manage to squeeze 2. So what I've got here is now, let me just pull this down so you can see. I've got the sauce that I've just made. And this is just going to go on top of the chicken and it goes straight in the oven, and that's all you need to do. So popping this on. And whilst I wasn't on camera, I added more spinach as it was cooking. Because it wilts down so much, I always use a whole bag of spinach in this dish. Because it's always so nice when it crisps up a bit in the oven. So let's just get all of that out. I'm just going to spread the spinach out. And then this is going to go in the oven until the chicken is cooked. Now, because I've chopped the chicken down, again, it's going to be much quicker than if I had left it on the bone or in whole pieces of breast fillets. So there we go. This will go in the oven and we can pop back to Nia.
That looks delicious, Anthea. I know what you guys are having for dinner. Okay, so I'm just going to scrape down the edges and I'll show you there. That's just kind of coated all those onions and cashews and stuff with the tomato and the spices. Let me just scrape that down so we don't lose any of those gorgeous spices to go in the sauce. They're no good on the side of the jug. There we go. Beautiful. And then I'm going to add 150 grams of pouring cream, which is just going in. And really, any cream will do here. When I'm making a curry, it'll be what I've got in the fridge. If it's pure cream, if it's sour cream, it really doesn't matter. And if you're being conscious, with calories and stuff, you can even skip it. 60 grams of natural yogurt. Again, I've only got some Greek yogurt. Same. That'll all go in beautifully. And then I'm just going to pop my lid on. And in this part, this is going to use the blend function. So again, this is unique to the TM6. And again, what you can do here is it's going to blend for a minute and it will slowly increase and blend all that into a lovely sauce. So I'm going to get that going whilst we talk. There are a number of different functions on the TM6 that are different from previous models.
That's the beauty of noise cancellation with Zoom.
So whilst Nia can't talk, I'll be her voice. I think she was going to talk about all the different functions of the TM6. So one of them being the high heat that she's already spotlighted for you today. Oh no, I can see it's the blend she wanted to talk about. So that's the blend function that you can see on screen there. And that basically takes it up to about speed 8. And you can use that for anything like sauces or smoothies or anything. You've only got 4 seconds left. Back to you.
Sorry about that. That was a bit noisy. I was just saying with the functions, and I don't know if you mentioned it, Tina. Oh, look at that sauce, guys, on top of that lid. It's beautiful. Any new functions that are added, they just come through a software update. So stops your Thermomix becoming redundant or out of date. Look at that sauce. You see that?
So good.
It's really thick and creamy, just what you'd want with a korma. And then the next step to do is just pop in. I've skipped a step, haven't I? Let me go back. Probably need to add the chicken. So it's asking for 400 grams of skinless boneless chicken thigh, cut into 2 to 3 centimeter pieces. I think this is over, it's nearly 600 grams. We've kind of gone a bit overboard. And again, as long as you're staying under the maximum levels, you can alter those amounts without any problem at all. So I'm going to pop that lid on, and this is going to cook on reverse for 12 minutes at 100 degrees. So I'll get that cooking, and then a little bit later you can come back and see the finished effect. There's nothing else to do on this recipe. Basically, when that 12 minutes is up, it's ready to serve. So come back later and I'll show you the finished product.
Thanks, Nia. I'm going to hand you over to the lovely Tammy, who is going to be cooking teriyaki chicken for us.
Thanks, Anthea, and welcome everybody. I wanted to say a special welcome to anyone I've contacted over the last week or so. And if you've come on the call today, hi, this is me, and we'll chat again soon about all things cooking. I'm doing teriyaki chicken today, which is like a 10-minute prep and a 20-minute cook. It's super simple, and it's under my recently cooked recipes in Cookadoo because it's something that we go back to when we've got a super quick day, busy day, and we need a quick dinner, but it's healthy. And it's a bit like takeaway. So when we feel like some takeaway, sometimes we'll go to something like this. So we're going to start cooking. I hope you can see my screen okay. So the scales have come up, so 10 grams of oil. Then it's going to ask me to put my chicken in. Add my splash guard, same thing, high heat function. I'm going to pop that down there, which is to let out some of that steam so the heat can really cook the chicken. And as you can see here, there's a steaming function. You just press that and do that with the dial, and the machine is working it all out for you. So what will happen is it stirs the chicken, and then it'll stop, and it'll cook the chicken at a high heat. And this is what gives it stir fry effect. It'll stop again, and then it'll rotate the chicken, and it continues doing that. So the chicken isn't always sitting on the bottom of the Thermomix. So I've also got ready today, because this is a multi-layered meal. So when it's time to put the chicken in, I've warmed up my thermoserver. And this meal is just constantly putting on top of each other. And at the end, there'll be a sauce. And it's just so quick and easy. The thermoservers are a host reward. So if you have a demo, that's part of our host reward. You can either purchase at a reduced price, or if someone that you have at your demo purchases a Thermomix, you can get a thermoserver for free. So I don't know whether you can hear that. I'm actually going to take my, and you may be able to hear. Can you hear it, Anthea? The sizzling of the chicken?
It's a bit slight.
Okay, so it's starting to sizzle, and it gets to this high temperature quite quickly. And this is the beauty of the high heat function of the Thermomix, I must say, because sometimes I'll use part of this recipe, just the chicken. I might put some spices on top, and that will go in the fridge for my lunches for the next day to put on top of a salad. Or sometimes I might use the vegetable version of it just as extra veggies to have at dinner. So it's quite adaptable. We have 3 minutes left on that, Anthea. So
Felicity, are you ready for us to come to you so you can list us and make the pizza dough?
Okay, so yes.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know a lot of you will have had phone calls from probably a new Thermomix consultant over the last couple of weeks while we bring you up to date on the trade-in offer. So anyone who has spoken to me, lovely to see you in person. Well, not quite in person. What I'm going to do is a regular in our house. Like Anthea, we're a household of 6 people. So I've got a bit of a pizza station set up so that the kids can actually make an easy, quick dinner for themselves. So what I've already done is I've made the pizza sauce. It makes up this amazing big jar. No fancy label. It's not how I roll. So pizza sauce is ready, and that will do a lot of pizza. So that I made earlier. And then we're going to make the pizza dough. So I will restart that, and then we're going to cook it in the new Ovana pizza oven. And I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting to see this in action. It's certainly been cranked up a lot around here. So to start cooking with the pizza dough, we don't need to, it's 8 degrees a large bowl, but I have the thermomat here. The thermomat and also the bread tin are your bonus gift when you purchase during February. So really lovely, really practical gift. So I did catch it, so I do make the team. Now, first option is going to be, we're going to add in 220 grams of lukewarm water. You'll see I was actually sitting down, and I sit down for quite a bit of my cooking. I get very tired. So having that option and being able to cook one-handed makes my life easier. 220 grams of water. The scales are measuring to 1 gram, which is very useful. A teaspoon of sugar. I've just got my raw sugar here. 20 grams of yeast. Again, look at the size of my container of yeast. As I say, pizza is very popular and very easy. We're going to put the measuring cup and lid on, and it's going to mix here for 20 seconds, speed 2. Currently what it's doing is it's activating the yeast for us so that it will help the dough rise. So it's just warming up to, I assume, probably 37 degrees. But firstly, it's just going to mix for 20 seconds to make sure that that yeast is mixed in with the water. We're going to add 400 grams of baker's flour. Little handy tip if you can. So this is my Thermomix corner. Everything Thermomix goes here. My spices are in the top drawer. Second drawer, I've actually got a Tupperware container, which is just full of my baker's flour. So again, I'm not having to grab anything out of the pantry. Scoop it in, all done sitting down. Why wouldn't you if you could? So if anyone does have any mobility issues, or you're pregnant, or you're just exhausted after a long day, nice easy tip. 30 grams of extra virgin olive oil. Again, in my little Thermomix station, I've got my olive oil here on tap. As you saw, I did with the water. Quite often we're having to add water. So having it on hand is really useful. Teaspoon of salt. Give or take. Remember, with your Thermomix cooking, you have as much freedom to change and adapt things to your taste as you do with anything else. So that's now going to mix for 2 minutes, and it's using the dough function, and it's actually just manipulating that dough so that we'll then be able to wrap it in the thermomat and leave it to rise for half an hour.
Let's go back to Tammy, who's ready for us with the next step of hers, and then we'll watch you put the dough out. Okay, let's pop Tammy back on. So we're going back to Tammy with the teriyaki chicken.
Hi everyone, I'll just pop my screen down. The beautiful chicken has been stir fried. I'm going to pop it in the in my thermo server. The beautiful thing about Cookadoo is it just tells you every step of the way what to do. Your children can cook as well. Oh, sorry, I've lost my camera. Apologies. Okay, so then what happens is at the bottom of the bowl there, you'll see that it's all browned and there's some beautiful chicken pieces there. They ask you to just scrape down the bowl so you can get rid of all that, get that beautiful goodness. And the next step, you just press next. It says using tongs, transfer the chicken into a thermo server, which I have done, and that will stay warm. And then the cooking juices stay inside the bowl. Scrape down the bowl, which I've done. Add the shallots. Next is the red capsicum, 100 grams. Next is carrots, just cut into matchsticks. All these beautiful vegetables, so good for you. Now, snow peas, I don't do the snow peas for the full cook because I find that they don't need to be cooked for as long as the other vegetables. So I'm just going to skip that and I'm going to pop those in later. 120 grams of broccoli. And as you can see, the scales just keep coming up every time you want them to. And that is so handy. You don't have to play with them. 20 grams of olive oil. Now again, place the splash guard on because we're stir frying again. We need to get rid of some of that steam. And that's going to cook. I'm actually going to turn that down to 3 minutes. And when that's finished, I am then going to add my snow peas. So I'll pop that on, Anthea, and thank you.
Yep, let's go back to Felicity with her pizza dough. Thanks, Tammy.
Hi, I'm back. All right, so this is a dough I actually prepared earlier and allowed to prove, so it's doubled in size. But what I'll show you is this is the dough we've just finished cooking. I haven't touched this. How good is that? One handful, I can pull it out. Those other two little bits, not a problem at all to pull out. So I will get them out and set them aside. Again, wrapping it into the thermomat, and it will help prove it. So that will just go into a ball, wrapped up, set aside in a warm place, and you can come back and use that half an hour later. In the meantime, here's one I prepared earlier, and it really is that easy. Trust me, everyone in the house can do it. There's my dough. I'm going to divide it into probably 2 pizzas, and we will roll it out or push it out, and we're aiming for about 5 mil thickness. My other nice new mat has a lovely circle there that you can use as a guide. So it's rolled out, and then the trick with making sure it doesn't stick onto your pizza paddle is to use a little bit of semolina to stop it sticking. But you're wondering what I'm going to use to top this. We know there's the tomato sauce, but I hope you're all shredding your cheese in the Thermomix. So I'm tipping that in, all cut into little chunks. My little trick is to also add the bacon in at the same time. Quite often I'll do this and I will freeze it like that. So I've got it ready for very, very quick pizza. So I'm just going to put it on speed 6. And we shall see what it's like. If it's not shredded enough, we'll do it a bit more. Okay, so the cheese looks good and we've still got chunks of bacon there. Okay, so that looks good to me. We shall roll out the pizza dough a little bit more and then we're going to get it onto the paddle. I've already heated up the pizza oven. And you know the best thing is I've even got kids here ready to eat this. They're out there playing a nice game of Spotted or something, which hasn't got aggressive yet. That's always a good thing.
The pizza oven gets up to about 500 degrees. Is that right, Felicity?
Yeah, it does. So I've just got it up to, I heated up to 450 and now I've dropped it back to about 400. 400 seems to be the happy spot for our pizza. So I'm now just stretching the pizza out onto here and let's make this happen. So I've also got some pesto here that I made earlier. I saw Anthea had beautiful basil growing at her house. We've grown this out at our farm and always adds that flavour to the pizza. Get that on. And you know what? You can get the kids decorating their own pizza. I did a demo the other day and there was half a dozen kids. They all had their own pizza to decorate, all came up with something completely different and they were all smiling. You also have the option, of course, of doing a gluten-free dough. In the Avana cookbook that comes with the pizza oven and is on Cookie Do, it has pizza dough recipes and that's where the pizza sauce.
Oh, I have to tell you, the best resource I found with the Avana Pizza is the Avana Pizza community Facebook page. Oh my goodness, so much awesome information on there about, you know, how to make the best gluten-free pizza base, trying different dough methods. It's awesome. Highly recommend jumping on.
Super helpful. Everyone's learning from each other, so highly recommend it too. Okay, so this is our pizza dough and give me a moment. I don't know whether you want me to head out to the pizza oven now. I just have to move my camera. I'll be 2 seconds.
Have you got someone that can follow you with the camera?
No, they're all busy.
Right, you pop it in and we'll pop back to Tammy and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's pop you back on, Tammy.
Thanks, Anthea. Look how beautiful those vegetables are. I cooked the first lot for 3 minutes and then it was a 5 minutes altogether, but I only gave the beautiful sugar snap peas 2 minutes. So again, I'm just going to pop my screen down. We're going to go into the thermo server. Now there's a little bit of juice that goes in there too, which has come from the chicken as well. Just looking for my spatula. I also have a corner of my kitchen where all my Thermomix products are. And then that goes in the thermo server on top of my chicken. So this is a layered meal. It's wonderful. Now you might be saying, I need more chicken than that, then you would stir fry. You can do a couple of stir fry sessions in that. That doesn't matter. Because of course, with the TM6, you've got a beautiful pre-clean mode. So I'm going next. It's asking me to scrape down the bowl again, just to get that, anything that might have browned, which I've done. And now it's time for the sauce. So 10 grams of ginger, 10 garlic cloves. Now, you don't have to put this many in, but it is really lovely. Insert the measuring cup. Now remember, all these things come with the Thermomix. So there's nothing extra you have to buy to start cooking. So 8 seconds, speed 7. And the ginger and the garlic are all going to be minced up for me.
I believe there's a question from Anne. To you.
For me?
No, Anne Brady. Is there a question for Tammy, or was there a question for Felicity? She put her hand up.
Look at that, all beautifully chopped.
So,
Can you see, Tina, what she asked?
yes, I'm trying to get that.
So that's all chopped beautifully. Scrape down the sides, which I've done. 80 grams of tamari. I like using tamari. It's not as strong as soy sauce, but again, if it's something you prefer, please do. And I just put a little bit more in because I like a little bit more sauce. 30 grams of honey. I buy local honey. We've got people in the local area that have bees, so I really do like to buy local. Am I going to get 30 grams in there? Doesn't matter if I don't have it. Almost. Next, 2 teaspoons of gluten-free corn flour. Now, you don't have to use gluten-free if you don't want to. And then it's going to ask me for 2 teaspoons of water. And that's going to thicken the sauce. Anthea, that sauce is now going to cook. And I'll see you soon. That's going for 3 minutes.
Awesome. Let's pass back over to Felicity then with her pizza. You're on, Felicity.
Hello, everybody. I've had a bit of a fail with this pizza. I've got a helper on board. Obviously, too much happening. What I can do is Luke's going to make us another pizza. Well, this one, I have just put it in. Oven had got a little bit too hot. But if you can have a look at that and see the potential of it, beautifully risen, will taste beautiful, just all done a little bit too much in a hurry. I did cook pizza the other day. Oh, we got lots of people here. I did cook pizza the other day with a customer, and it turned out divine. So we will have another go at this, and it will be good. What you can see down in my backyard, just as a distraction, is our beautiful alpacas. So yes, but no, we're getting another pizza ready, which we will cook a little bit better than that one was.
Thanks, Felicity. I will come back. Tammy, you nearly ready? 1 minute. Okay. I will come back to me. So I had a bit of a struggle with the pizza oven myself to start with, but I think it's also a lot of it's to do with not letting the dough get too much to room temperature. So unfortunately, Felicity's had it there waiting for us to go back to her to pop in the oven. But with the pizza dough, it's a great tip to put semolina down. So that semolina lets it slip onto your paddle to go into the oven. But it's been absolutely amazing. We make pizza every Friday night. And I was a bit like, when I first got it, I was like, oh, I don't think I can get it up to the right temperature. And once you find your groove, I found the right spot for it, so you get too much wind. It's amazing. And each pizza takes less than 2 minutes, literally less than 2 minutes. So, you know, especially when you're cooking for a lot of people. Before I was up and down the stairs. Now I'm out there, quick, next one. And the advice is just not let that dough get too sticky and too warm before it goes in.
Can I just jump in and say, all the critics here have actually said, Mum, that looks amazing. So
it doesn't have to look perfect. Look how much it's
but the rest looks great. So
yeah. Rustic pizza, that's what we like.
Rustic pizza, that's the way we roll. Thanks.
Okay. All right, I'll pass you over to Tammy.
Hi, my sauce is just about ready. Only 7 seconds to go. And I must say, again, this is such a great midweek meal. And the other thing with your Thermomix, there's a few different chimes you can have. There's a few different displays you can have on your TM6. And then this is the beautiful sauce, which I'm going to show you. Teriyaki sauce. It is just gorgeous. Now I will move my camera. And the sauce then goes, everything is still steaming in the thermoserver. Sauce goes in on top. Get all of that beautiful goodness out. Give that a mix. And dinner is ready. And it'll stay warm in there for quite a while. So Anthea, I'll plate this up into a bowl for everyone to see how gorgeous all the colors are. But the great thing also about stir frying, as we all know, is the nutrients stay in the food. So thank you for watching me today, and back to you guys.
Thank you. Okay, so what I've been cooking alongside the buttered chicken is I put a slow cook on, and in the interest of time, I went through a couple of steps without you. So what we've got here is, it's called the Chinese 5-spice chicken. It's not chicken, Chinese 5-spice beef cheeks. So what I've done is I cooked the beef cheeks, and I made them quite a bit smaller than the recipe asked for because I wanted it to cook quicker. This was 5 hours slow cooking. So it's got garlic, ginger, chili, 5-spice chicken in here as it was cooking with water. That was the big content of those water. Now, the next step of that is to add some gluten-free corn flour to the sauce once you've removed the meat, and steam some broccoli, some Chinese broccoli at the same time. So I'm using my varoma. If you don't use your varoma, I highly recommend giving it a go. We run cooking classes that are based just around the varoma. So this is the steaming component of the Thermomix. You can add any vegetables to this dish. I do have the Chinese broccoli in there, but I could have bulked it out with anything else, anything you want to get steamed to accompany that dish. Now, whilst that's cooking, that's got another few minutes on it. I just want to show you a special limited offer host reward that we've got at the moment, which is our blade peeler, but it also is a potato peeler. So what you do with this is you pop it in your Thermomix. It just sits on top of the blades. We're going to put, I've got 600 grams of water in here, and I'm going to put 800 grams of potatoes. They're not even washed, these ones. They're completely mucky. I'm going to put them in on top of the blade cover with that water in there. So it's 600 grams of water, 800 grams of the potatoes. Lid goes on, and I'm going to find my peeler function. Now, anyone who's got the peeler and does potatoes might notice that the measuring cups can pop off as the potatoes are being pushed around. So what I found a solution to this is using my splash guard on here. So that's going to take a few minutes. So what I'll do whilst I'm getting both of these set up, I'm going to hand you over to Nia, who's going to show us a korma if that's ready, or go straight on to a nice quick midweek dessert.
Thank you. I'm going to do both of those things. So the korma has been ready for a little while. Where's the best way to show it you? Can you see it there? The sauce is so thick. It's beautiful. I'm going to stir in a spoon of garam masala, a teaspoon of garam masala, as the recipe suggests. Mix that in. You are supposed to do this when it's still in the Thermomix, but I wanted to have it in a nice presentation bowl for you ready.
Nia, if you pulled your camera, the one that's on the screen, a little bit back, you can see the entire, but it's looking really good.
Hang on.
If it's not, oh, beautiful.
How's that?
Okay, just.
And then all we need to finish it off, a little bit of coriander on top. Fantastic. So there we go. We have chicken korma made really quickly. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And as I say, I would serve this with cauliflower rice, but I'm not going to do that now because it will go soggy by the time we're going to eat. And also what I meant to say earlier is obviously we focused, a lot of us have done meat dishes today, but that recipe can be done as a vegetarian dish. You can put in eggplant, pumpkin, peas, beans, makes a delicious vegetable korma as well if you want those meat-free days. I'm just going to show you a very quick dessert, and it's called frozen pineapple cream. And this is from a book on cookie dough. It's an Australian New Zealand book called Meals in a Flash. So again, that ties in with our theme today, where it's quick meals that you can get out and on the table in no time at all. So this is frozen pineapple cream. It's a bit of a variation on a fruity dream, soft ice cream. And I always think it lends itself well to maybe a little shot of Malibu in there because of the coconut. It's a bit like a pina colada dessert. I won't do that today. But anyway, okay, so I'm just going to get that recipe going. So 50 grams of raw sugar, pop that in there, and 4 fresh mint leaves. And I would like to thank one of my customers and neighbour, Melissa, for dropping round with a sprig of mint for me from her garden. Thank you very much. And I'm going to pop this in and blend the sugar and the mint leaves together for 10 seconds on speed 10. Just get that going. If you can see here, it looks like my Thermomix is smoking, but it's just the sugar dust. There we go. See, that mint and sugar has been beautifully blended together. Smells divine. And this is also base for if you're doing something like a mojito cocktail. It is Saturday night after all. 600 grams of frozen pineapple. I haven't got a clue how much is here. It's not pre-weighed. I did have a bit of an issue. Let's have a look how much there is. Okay, $3.93. We're well under. I went to the freezer thinking I had frozen pineapple. It turned out to be yellow capsicum. So very quickly before the class, I opened a tin of pineapple and I've frozen it, so it's partially frozen. So I'm thinking on my feet, otherwise it could have been a capsicum dessert, which probably wouldn't work for my family. Then asking for 60 grams of coconut milk. So that's going in. This is light coconut milk. This is what I had in the cupboard. I've obviously got 100 mils left from the can, and I'll just freeze that in an ice cube tray because there are some recipes that just ask you for a very small amount, things like the beef massaman and those kind of recipes. So it's great just to have that ready and you're not wasting that rest of that tin. Got 2 egg whites. They're going in. Just going to mix those all together with a spatula. Beautiful. Okay. And then this is going to blend for 40 seconds on speed 7. So we'll just get that going.
Whilst you're blending, if that's not a sound you can talk over, I just want to show you my beef cheeks that I've just finished. So let's just quickly spotlight myself. Okay, so what I've got here is this beef cheeks recipe. I just wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to do slow cooking in the Thermomix, which is something that we weren't able to do with the previous model, the TM31. But here we have a really simple recipe. I would probably serve this with rice as well. But beef cheeks, I've literally, in terms of time that I've had to be sitting around using this, I chopped up the meat. I add the ingredients, I left it for 4 or 5 hours, walked away and came back and steamed the vegetables, added some, when I took the meat out, I added some nice corn flour, some gluten-free corn flour into the bowl as I steamed the vegetables, so that sauce thickened to go on top of the meat. So there we have just a really easy slow cook meal. There are so many slow cook recipes on the Cookie Do. So if you just typed in slow cook, and it will bring up a whole host for you to have a look at and make. There's a really great chili, lots of different options for using that cheaper meat that needs a little bit longer to be cooked. Okay, passing you back to Nia now.
I'm doing done. Sorry about that. So all I've done while Anthea was talking, it asked me to take the lid off and scrape down the sides, which I did do. Let me just show you that beautiful mix there of pineapple and coconut milk and sugar and mint. So it's asking me to do the same again, and then insert the butterfly whisk. So this is going to whip it all up into a nice moussey texture. Let's get that in there. And one of the great functions on the TM6, it actually gives you a video to show you what to do with your butterfly whisk, which is great. I'm going to play that for you so you can see. Somebody new to using a Thermomix, these little videos are invaluable. Or if it's a recipe you've never done before, then it's perfect just to give you that extra instruction. So they're really good. And then I've inserted inserted my whisk. I'm going to pop my lid and measuring cup back on. And this is now going to blend on speed 4 for 40 seconds.
I'll switch back to me because I want to show you how these potatoes have turned out. So if you remember, we started off with potatoes like this. Now my potatoes are finished, but I want to show you, I'm just going to drain them out. You can see the water coming out. And I will give them a quick rinse, but just to show you, for all intents and purposes of this, I'll just rinse one to show you. That's how we started. 4 minutes later, that's what we've got. If there's ever something that takes time in the kitchen, it's peeling the potatoes. So now you can make a mash, you can make a potato salad. I quite often make chips in my air fryer with potatoes that I peel in the Thermomix. So, that the potato peeler, when it first came out, I was like, how's that going to work? But actually it's perfect. You can also peel vegetables, so your beetroot, no more red fingers, for making that beautiful raw beetroot salad that we all love. So just remember, that's a host reward. So if you're thinking that you might want to get your hands on that, you can buy it in the mix shop, but you can also go discounted or free version just by hosting a demonstration with your friends. Passing you back to Nia. I think she's about to dish up.
I am. Now, this probably hasn't worked as well as it should have done. And I think that's because my pineapple wasn't frozen enough and I didn't quite have enough because I thought it was capsicum. However, I've popped that in the little bowl there. It should be a little lighter and airier than this. But as I say, with a bit of Malibu, that would be absolutely divine. So it's very much like a pina colada, coconut and pineapple in a dessert, quickly on people's benches, in front of them within kind of 5 minutes. Use frozen pineapple, works much better. And that's me. Thank you.
Nia, I love your reference to cocktail. I can just feel one of those coming on now. Tammy, I'm going to pass you over to you. I think you're done with your...
I am. I have a beautiful chicken stir fry. Look at those beautiful colors. Everything is cooked beautifully, not overcooked. And the other thing I did while I was waiting, just have a look at my screen. It's gone a bit skewy. My camera keeps moving. I do apologize. The TM6 mode has a pre-clean. So you press the pre-clean button, and I'm sorry, I'm just having an issue here. The pre-clean, and then you choose. And I chose browning because I stir-fried today. And I think you would have seen how dirty my bowl was after I did the teriyaki. And this is my bowl now. So that's all been pre-cleaned. So I'll just go over to the sink and I'll finish that off with the thermo brush. And then my Thermomix will be ready to make my rice, or thank you, Nia, cauliflower rice maybe tonight. And thank you everyone for watching today. And please reach out. I know that we've been contacting everyone as far as the trade up offer goes. Whatever you want to do, we are here for you. So whatever machine you have, we want to help you cook more, cook better, and cook more relaxed. So enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Tammy. That looks delicious. Okay, so what I've got left to show you is my lemon butter chicken straight out of the oven. So there is that. I love the way that the spinach crisps up and you get some nice caramelization all on the top of the chicken. Now, I would serve that up with rice. One of the options, and my kids don't like it, but I do, is when you're putting it in the oven, is you put a base of rice underneath and it soaks up all the juices as you're cooking it. So that's another option. Then you don't have to make rice afterwards. So before we stick around for questions, I just want to thank all the ladies who helped tonight presenting, and Tina also for doing all of the chat for me. If anyone is interested in coming on board and becoming a consultant, please reach out to your own consultant or drop a note here. We're going to pop a poll up. And I would love to be able to do exactly what Tammy said. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your Thermomix. Now, I know we do have a lot of people on here who are new to Thermomix. We will be sending out all the recipes to everybody in a follow-up email, and there will be a recording if you want to go back and watch anything. I'm just going to launch a poll, but we are going to stick around to answer any questions that you may have. So please stick around. Pop a question in chat, or be brave, come off and have a chat with us. I will end the recording now, so you won't be recorded for this part. And thank you for joining us. We hope we've been able to help you. We have got so much food now. This is awesome.